Good morning and welcome back to Trinity University here as the rubber match of the Trinity University Tigers and the St. Thomas Celts. We'll get started here momentarily. Two teams split yesterday, going 1-1, but the Tigers behind an incredible effort from today's starter, Kat Patterson, with the 1-0 shutout victory in Game 1 before St. Thomas exploded offensively behind the bat of Jalen Simmons and romped out to a 6-4 victory, holding on in the bottom of the seventh as the Tigers left the bases loaded in defeat and the all-important Game 3 of this series. And Jacob, welcome back here. And kind of felt like maybe you were a good luck charm on the broadcast yesterday, and you were calling Game 1, and then Game 2 kind of got away from us. But Kat Patterson back in the circle once again here for the Tigers. And a very similar lineup. It is the exact same lineup that we saw in Game 2 yesterday for St. Thomas. Jalen Simmons, Lindsey Gonzalez, Mallory Munson, Sidney Cromwell, Addison Lehue, Taylor Lee, Kaylee Deacle, Ariana Brown, and Delaney Marino. And as the first pitch comes in, it is up and away from Patterson to Simmons. Simmons got the best of her in the opening at bat in Game 2 yesterday with a solo home run. She finished a triple away from the cycle as that one will bounce off the wall, and that's another double. I mentioned she finished triple away from the cycle. She missed the triple, but did have a double, a single, and 2 walks. And so her last 6 at-bats now against the Tigers are very productive. She is absolutely hitting the ball, batting .430 right now, currently coming into the game. Just absolutely pounding Tiger pitching here lately, and that's already going to prompt a visit here from Coach Abby Martin.
Yep, this talk might be just telling Kat to just settle in here. It's the first batter, but maybe can settle into her groove, because the first game she did great. Like, she was in a couple of situations like this, and she did well. So let's see if she can keep that up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, she gave up that solo home run in the second game and then cruised into a comfort zone, retiring the next 6 batters. So, we saw that a bunch from Patterson yesterday, especially in game number 1. She would give up some hits. She scattered 5 through 7 innings and only allowed 1 walk as well. But when the runners got on, she was able to kind of maneuver around that and really helped Trinity. She helped herself quite a bit, getting key pop-ups, had ground-outs right back to not only herself, but right at her position players in the infield. So we'll see how she can respond here. And it's another fly ball back out to left, and that one being covered by Jenna Cash. And Cash yesterday was a put-out machine out in left field in game number 1. And she had, I believe, 5 putouts in left. And so Patterson kind of working back into that flow. She's given up 2 fly balls, 1 to left center that was just out of the reach of Cash, and that one more right at her.
Yeah, I think that was a key out here, just to get her back maybe in the groove a little bit, and now she can go with her game plan.
And so this is Munson flying out to left field as well, so back-to-back flyouts, but that one will be deep enough to advance the runner. As we'll get 2 down now here for the cleanup hitter, Cromwell. And for Sidney Cromwell, she was in the action for the second game. Did a really good job behind the plate for St. Thomas. Had a couple of strong throws on balls that were left right in front of the plate, either sacrifice bunt attempts or just pitches that were down and kind of hit off the front dirt. Kind of helped St. Thomas establish some rhythm. Also had a big strike him out, throw him out situation against the Tigers in game number 2 that, as that inning progressed, saved a few runs and probably the difference maker in the game. Tigers would have had not only bases loaded, but would have also been able to bring in a run if you kind of recreate that inning. And then here is a ground ball. That's going to be off the line, and so the error from the shortstop, Salcedo, I believe, we'll see how it's officially scored, but
it looked like it went off the third baseman's glove, and then Salcedo had to try and save it and make a play. That's just a tough break there.
Yeah, tough break. I was looking at the throw compared to the runner on the situation, but that one deflecting off the glove, that's going to be a very hard error to give. So I would imagine that is given an RBI single. And fortunately, we've got the replay to re-see some of this action live. A little tough with the chain link fence blocking a good portion of our view, but yeah, that's a tough play off the glove of De La Luna. And now we're down to the 5-hole hitter. 1-0 lead now for St. Thomas. Lehue, the batter. And we saw a bunch of this yesterday. The first, I think, 5 or 6 scoring runners were all the leadoff hitters. Not just the leadoff hitters for the inning, but the actual number one in the batting order hitters for each team. As the Tigers won game 1 with their leadoff hitter scoring the only run. There's a ground out over to Sammy Whitman, and that will bring us out of the first inning. So Patterson does give up 2 hits in this inning. She allows a run. St. Thomas behind the bat of Jalen Simmons, still doing damage here today. And Sydney Cromwell getting her first hit of the series, bringing in that run. We go to the bottom half of the second. We'll take a look at the Tigers starting lineup, and we'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back. And for the Tigers, starting lineup on the day is going to be Sammy Whitman, Marina De La Luna, Jessica Lloyd, Abby Miller, Brianna Pena, Jordan Williams, Alexa Salcedo, Diamond Elizondo, and Jenna Cash. They'll be going up against Longuet, who was yesterday's game 1 starter and threw an absolute gem herself, but did give up a run to Alexa Salcedo on a hit by pitch to Abby Miller, and that was the only scoring run of the game yesterday, and the 1-0 victory for the Tigers. They're going to need to do a little bit more damage against Longuet here in the game number 2. I'll try to get us started with Sammy Whitman.
Yeah, I think the key for Trinity here is the top of the order. Like, you have the first 4 batters all batting above 300, and if you can get these batters on base, you can definitely do some damage. And St. Thomas took advantage of that in the first inning, especially with the tear that Jalen Simmons is on.
Yeah, absolutely. And yesterday the Tigers were able to kind of use this top of the order very well, and it wasn't necessarily with the bat. It was more with not swinging the bat. They were able to be very patient and get on board via quite a few walks, especially in game number 2. And so that's what you kind of need out of the top of that lineup, is just to make sure that you've got runners aboard. And that was a pretty good piece of batting there from Whitman. Just kind of couldn't get it quite into that gap between the shortstop and third baseman. And then it'll bring us to Marina De La Luna. She didn't get a home run in her first at-bat, but if you go by the number of days played, it's a 3-day home run streak here for her. 3 of the last 4 games. Did hit 1 in game number 2.
Yeah, she's been on an absolute tear lately. We'll see if she can continue that streak today.
Now it's 6 home runs on the season. That one floated pretty far outside. Not a bad pitch for 0-2. See if you can get something to cause De La Luna to chase. But as we mentioned, Tigers with quite a few walks, and De La Luna had quite a few herself, especially after 0-2 counts.
Wow, what a great play there.
And Simmons, not only with the bat in the first inning and yesterday, but you see the defense here retiring her counterpart at third base. We saw quite a few web gems yesterday. Delaney Marino with a absolute Superman catch out in center field to save a couple of runs in that second game, and then Jordan Williams at first base with her own diving stop at first, unable to get a absolutely speedy Deacle, who had pinch hit in game number 1, but missed her by about a half step. But considering how much room she had to cover to make that play and had to wait for Whitman to cover the bag as well.
And then even in the
2 web gems.
Yeah, and then even in the first game, Saucedo at shortstop making the diving catch in the bottom of the 7th to close out the game.
A diving catch, and then in the second game, she also had a throw from almost left field. It was so deep in the hole at shortstop, it was beyond that little blip of dirt that you see over there behind shortstop. It was well beyond that. As Jessica Lloyd will drop that in for a 2-out single, and the Tigers maybe with something going here as Abby Miller will step up to the plate.
And Abby Miller made some noise, especially in the first game with her bat, so let's see if she can continue that here.
And for Miller, the senior catcher, the first-year catcher out of California. A lot of Californians on this team. I say senior catcher. Obviously, that was a mistake, but it is senior day here for the Tigers, and Sammy Whitman and Brianna Pena, who awaits on deck. 2 of the seniors for the Tigers.
On senior day especially, you always want to end off with a win to end your career.
Tigers with 5 seniors on the roster. Mention Pena and Whitman, also Kish and Cash, and Kat Patterson. Longuet doing a pretty solid job once again here in the first inning. It's kind of what we expected. Pretty solid start once again between Patterson and Longuet, and wouldn't be surprised if we see a low-scoring game once again, but at the same time, I think we saw some of the bats starting to come alive in Game 2. So this one with a little bit of unknown as we have now completed the first inning, as Longuet will strike out Miller, and that will send us to the second. The Tigers are able to put a runner on base, but after Jessica Lloyd's 2-out single, they're not able to move her over, and we will head to the second inning as the Celts still hold a 1-0 lead. Top of the second inning, and I mentioned how well Simmons was hitting in yesterday's game. Taylor Lee was also very electric, 3 for 3 at the plate for her, and she steps in to lead us off here. The Celts with Lee, Deacle, and Brown, and then Moreno coming up. So you've got 3 speedsters and then the center fielder. So a lot of speed here at the bottom of the lineup, and they're all looking to get aboard So that would take us back to the top of the order where Jalen Simmons awaits. As I said, her 5 for 5 on plate appearances, reaching yesterday, 3 for 3 with 2 walks, and then she had a double today. Lee 3 for 3 yesterday, and that one will go foul. And now her count runs to 0-2, and so Kat Patterson may be right where she wants her. She can look to maybe waste a pitch, or at the same time, if you're expecting somebody to waste a pitch, bring something right over the middle of the plate. See if you can get maybe a breaking ball in the zone.
Yeah, these next couple of batters for Patterson are key here, especially with Simmons on deck. And with these two batters who have been hitting well the last couple of days, this is a big moment for Kat.
That one grounded.
And that's a good start.
Yeah, right to Jordan Williams at first, and she's going to step on the bag for the easy out. And I'll say that's huge. It was the bottom of the order that kind of plagued Patterson in game 1 of this series yesterday. And so the bottom of the order was the one that was kind of putting together, 1 for 2 days going into the late innings. And then we saw the bottom of the order kind of get pinch hit for, which was kind of surprising. But they were looking to shake things up, not having been able to plate a run at that point, and Patterson was able to close it out, get the shutout, and kind of put Trinity into that big situation. The reason why we keep saying that it's so big for this game here, these two teams are 2nd and 3rd in the conference. As Deacle steps in, she fouls that one back, and it's quickly 0-2. So Patterson kind of right back into that groove where she's firing strikes. But the two teams, 2nd and 3rd in the conference. They are separated by quite a few number of games, but if you look at the schedule, and if you look at the schedule objectively, there's a very strong likelihood that the winner of this game can pretty much have claim to that number 2 seed. I don't want to jump ahead and say that St. Thomas will sweep Centenary next week or that Trinity will get swept by Texas Lutheran. But Trinity swept Centenary, and St. Thomas was swept by Texas Lutheran. So if you kind of take, from a Trinity perspective, the worst-case scenario, as that one will go to Kish. Can't quite get underneath it, the long run in, and that's going to be a base hit for Deacle. And I believe that's a 3-game hit streak now for Deacle.
Yeah, and
pinch hitter.
And as you were saying, this is a must-win for both these teams, especially if they want to get that 2 seed and solidify home field advantage until, you never know, possibly playing TLU in the championship. And Trinity will definitely have a handful of a series with TLU, but you never know what can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. TLU's looked vulnerable at times this year. They've had some games that have been a lot closer than we would expect. Of course, TLU having been to the Softball College World Series here the last few years, kind of one of the more dominant teams, not just for the conference, but within the entirety of Division III softball. So you kind of look at them the way that maybe some teams look at our baseball team over the last few years, where they had won a national championship a few years back and then continue to make the regionals. It can be very tough when there is a established program that just kind of every year goes out and gets wins. TLU sort of in that mindset now, and that's a fantastic sacrifice here for Brown. And I hesitate to even call them sacrifices. It officially goes down as a sacrifice. She could bunt it right at somebody and bunt that for a hit. You see the speed. I mean, that was a bang play.
Yeah, that was a close play there.
And she had some bunts yesterday that she was safe on balls that were bunted right at De La Luna, and there was just not much they could do. And Marina will bring that one will bring the top of the second to a close as she flies out.
Good job by Patterson there that inning. She definitely settled in and started mowing down some batters.
Yeah, so, allow a runner, but able to work out of the jam, even though the runner had made it all the way to third. It's not quite the 5-hit shutout that we had yesterday from Patterson, but she's the type of pitcher that's going to let the defense get behind her, and she's going to trust her defense to help make some plays. And it's worked out really well for her on the season, 14-7 on the year for Patterson coming into this game. And ERA down to about a 2.76 mark. And a lot of that coming late in the year as conference play. She's been, I would even say, even more dominant. Tigers had a fairly rough patch to the opening of the season. They started 0-12. The schedule was, I would say, above average on difficulty. I wouldn't say it was the most difficult schedule in the entire country, but it was a very above average difficulty level that they had to go through. And there's a lot of fresh faces on this team. Got a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing in this on this roster on a regular basis. So there is going to be an adjustment period, and there's going to be some of that. And the Tigers have kind of started to rebound quite nicely.
Yeah, it just tells you the perseverance and what this team can do through adversity. And now they've worked from a 0-12 record to winning 18 of their last 23 games. So they've definitely established themselves not only as one of the best teams in the conference, but also, you never know, like, maybe can have a special run here toward the end of the season.
Yeah, we mentioned a lot of the team is underclassmen, freshmen and sophomores, but you're also getting some strong senior leadership. Kat Patterson, obviously, in the circle, but Brianna Pena here been patrolling the outfield quite a bit. The numbers this year may be down from what she's posted in years past, but
it's good hit there. Good way to start the inning.
It's that type of experience that you have right there, and now you've got a leadoff runner aboard, and that kind of changes a lot of things here for what the Tigers can do. Jordan Williams coming up, powerful lefty. She can find the gap, has quite a few doubles on the year, leads the team, and if she could find maybe some room in the outfield, you see a slight shift from the center fielder. That puts a lot of room. If she can put that ball back up the middle or over the shortstop's head, as they're going to bunt her here on the sacrifice attempt, not a bad play here to maybe move a runner to second. If you're anticipating a low-scoring game, Coach Martin trying to make something happen, and we'll see if she does it again after that one goes foul.
Yeah, and if they still plan to decide to bunt her, but if she does decide to swing, like, just wait on a pitch here, and looks like she did bunt, but a good sacrifice there.
Yeah, well done. Not necessarily the easiest thing to get that down, but does move Pena over to second, and then that brings up Salcedo, who's been swinging the bat very well lately.
Yeah, she had a couple little dribblers in the first game, but she was able to use her speed to get a couple of key hits for the Tigers, and was one of the reasons that they won that first game.
Yeah, it was the only run of the game. She was in the leadoff spot here for the Tigers in game number 1. Now finding herself in the 7th spot, but mentioned strong defensive play yesterday, and she's looked really good at shortstop. It's been an area where the Tigers, I think, have played around with the lineups early on in the season. Now Salcedo kind of looking like a established shortstop, and great to see from the first year, officially as a first year listed. To have somebody and the types of plays that we saw yesterday, the diving catch to end the game, the deep throws from basically shallow left field to get the runners out, like those are the types of things you need a shortstop to come around and do. And
yeah, like a lot of those plays are game-winning or game-saving plays, and those are a couple of great examples of it that just happened yesterday. So she's definitely showed, like, throughout the year, her defensive prowess has begun to develop very well.
And you didn't see Pena move on that one because that was off of Salcedo, so she's going to reach by hit by pitch. So now 2 aboard here as we get to Diamond Elizondo, and sophomore with limited action here this year, but in a big spot now for Trinity. And not a bad idea to maybe be first pitch swinging, see if you can get Longuet after a hit by pitch to see if she's just like, hey, let me get back out in front. Let me throw a strike so I don't let this get carried away from me. That's kind of what happened to her in yesterday's game. She had one inning where the Tigers were able to get a base hit, get a walk, get a hit by pitch, and then they scored the only run of the game. So, we mentioned it as we went to break an inning ago. Tigers, if they can, even if Longuet is dominant through a couple of innings, if they can piece together one good solid inning, it might be enough for Patterson. As that one's swung on a miss, makes count 1 and 2.
Yeah, agreed. Because Patterson's not going to let herself give up too many runs. She definitely showed that in the top half of the second by going back to what she can do, which is mow down batters at a fast rate. And this is a big inning here for the Tigers, but that was a good punch-out by Longuet, much needed.
Yeah, got Elizondo to foul out to the catcher, and a great job. We mentioned it yesterday. Cromwell doing a really good job. She was over at the plate, but she had made some really strong throws, and she had made quite a few catches like that. Not the easiest catches to make, especially here at Trinity's field, where that cage kind of like angles in back over the course of the field. So sometimes trying to judge whether a ball is going to still be coming down and make it playable is sometimes very optically tricky when you're out there. And this brings Trinity to their 9th spot, and Jenny Cash and an opportune time for Cash to get a base hit here. You've got runners on base that have some pretty good speed. So if she can find the outfield here, looking to tie the game, that one will roll foul.
Yeah, this is a big at bat. I know it's early, but this could definitely, as you said before, can help Kat a little bit here if she can put one in play and possibly bring in a run.
And conversely, if it can go Longuet's way, it's a big momentum builder here for St. Thomas to get out of this jam.
Yeah, and Longuet, just as Patterson yesterday in the first game showed that when she was in situations like this, she was able to get out of them very well. So this is another one, and she seems to be heading in that direction, but got to take care of business here.
Cash staying alive. Count now 2 and 2. She fouls that one back up. Foul against the fence. That one's going to be outside. If Cash can draw the walk here or get on base with a hit, takes us back to the top of the order. You've got Whitman and then De La Luna. And so as you mentioned earlier, a lot of players, the top 4 hitters, all hitting well over 300. And so could really open up the chance for the Tigers. This one roll slowly back over Longuet, and she's going to throw that one high. And it's going to be 2nd and 3rd as Cash making her way. See, this was just a slow roller right back to Longuet, and she rushed it over to first, and not much Leahu could do on that one. That was just...
Yeah, that's just a big unforced error there. Now that brings up the meat of this lineup, and Trinity can take advantage of this.
Yeah, Tigers will take it. Sort of like how they won the game on a hit by pitch yesterday. They will take advantage of the St. Thomas mistake. And Cash, I think really one of the things that a lot of coaches will do is they'll try to put a very fast runner there at the bottom of the lineup. One, I think it helps kind of turn that lineup over quicker. If you can get a runner on at the 9 spot, then you come back up with 1-2, with somebody on base. So it's kind of a strategic standpoint to try to really put runners on base for your leadoff hitter, and then let your heart of your order have something to work with. But I think the other thing that it does, especially in that at bat, was the fact that with somebody with as much speed as Cash, it really forced Longuet to try to maybe force a play that she didn't need to. Cash wasn't very far down. I mean, it felt like it was a slow enough roller back to the mound that maybe Longuet thought that she didn't have time. But she didn't follow through on her throw.
Yeah, it definitely looked like she short-armed and maybe panicked a little bit because Cash was pretty far down the line when she got the ball. So I think you're exactly right. Sometimes speed can pay dividends, especially in the bottom of a lineup.
And now maybe looking a little flustered as it was a 3-0 count to Whitman. And after the gimme strike on 3-0,
and
missing.
If you're Longuet, this is not the batter you want to face with the bases loaded.
Marina De La Luna leading the team in home runs with 6. She had one yesterday. Let's see. That one was actually a lot closer than I thought it was.
Yeah, that was a good pitch. I'm surprised by that call.
And so De La Luna, don't mind the big swing on that one. See if you can run into one here. An opportunity to maybe blow this game open. As her counterpart did in game 2 yesterday. Not only had the home run, but a couple of base hits that helped bring in some runs. Now 0-2 to De La Luna as Longuet has been kind of back into the groove, I think. She's settled up after that walk.
Yep, this is right where Longuet wants her. But if you're De La Luna, just choke up on the bat and try and do what she just did. Just foul some pitches off and just get her to make some mistakes.
There's another foul. Yeah, been very impressed both by Patterson, obviously we've talked about, but Longuet as well. Just the ability, I mean, you just walk the bases loaded after you committed the only error of the game so far, and you're still out here because of yourself, and sometimes you'll see a pitcher kind of spiral downward, but that's not a bad miss pitch after 2 foul balls. She's come back real strong against one of the Tigers' better hitters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what both pitchers have done. They've been pretty successful with the best part of the lineup for both these teams, and that's a great example there. I mean, give credit to Longuet, only after that error, just only allowing that 1 run.
Yeah, and that 1 run will come around and tie it, and the Tigers will take that. It was a gimme run on the error, and that will settle the score back to 1. We head to the third. It's a clean slate. I hate to say maybe another pitcher's duel brewing as we're getting a little bit more offense out of this game, but so far looking like Patterson and Longuet battling each other here more than they're battling themselves. So fantastic to see this here for the third game of the series, and we'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back here. Top of the third inning as two teams going about it a little bit differently. St. Thomas with an early run. Jalen Simmons scoring the game's opening run after a double to the outfield wall out in the left center. And she's 1 for 1 on the day. 449 on the year. You see those numbers. They are astronomical. Those are fantastic numbers. This one rolled over Whitman. And that is the first time in the last 7 at-bats that Simmons has been retired. They essentially walked her in the 7th inning yesterday. She was a triple away from the cycle. It'd be very hard to get a triple here in softball. You don't see it very often, which is part of the reason why you very rarely see a cycle in softball. Mm-hmm. But strategy-wise, it was absolutely the right call from Coach Martin. And Patterson came back in relief in that game, was able to get out of a jam with 2 runners on in the 7th. And that one over to Whitman quickly, 2 outs. Patterson.
I
was going to say, like, one of the things, if you're a pitcher and you sit for a while, maybe sometimes you can't find the zone when you come back, but she has been on point here early in the third.
Yeah, and sometimes those little resets can also help a lot too. Maybe if you get gotten in your own head or something and you just need to have a little bit of a reset, and sometimes that helps pitchers, but Kat's definitely settled in here. Those are 2 big outs against 2 very good hitters on this team.
Yeah, not surprised to see Gonzalez swinging at the first pitch. I didn't keep track for every at-bat that she had, but I'm almost certain in saying that she swung at and put the ball in play on every first pitch in some way, or had it go foul down the line somewhere, so it wasn't like a foul back. So she was making excellent contact all day yesterday, and 0 for 2 here today to start, and that gives way to Munson with 2 outs, who heading the count now 2-1. Munson pitched yesterday, and what is not unusual in softball, but Vasquez was listed as the starter on the scorecard. Munson came in and was the first pitcher to enter the game after St. Thomas had taken the lead. And then she pitched for 3 innings and left in a tie game. And then Vasquez re-entered as the pitcher, went 4 innings. And then the way that the stats, the rule book and everything, as Munson gets a base hit into center field, the way that everything works is as long as the starting pitcher of record pitches 4 innings in a game, they can still be in line for the win. And I think I said that Munson left with the team already down. She left with the lead. So it was just a very weird situation. This one going back and to the wall.
Gone.
And that is a 2-run homer for Cromwell. She has 3 RBI on the day. And the transfer from TLU putting a damper here on Trinity's outing here is now, that one's a big one.
Yeah, that is a huge home run there for St. Thomas. Great piece of hitting by Cromwell. She's had a day so far.
I mentioned her defense after a struggling at-bat situation yesterday, but coming huge today. 2 for 2 on the day. Her first at-bat drove in Simmons. And then this one after Munson was able to get a 2-out single, then a 2-out homer to make it 3-1. And then
there you go. Good job by Kat, though, to settle in and not totally get rattled by that home run and end the inning.
And for Lehue, she will be 0 for 2 on the day. And then we will come back here in just a minute. It's going to be Jessica Lloyd, Abby Miller, and Brianna Pena when we return. But St. Thomas striking with that 2-run homer. They now have a commanding 3-1 lead. We'll be back here on the Tiger Network in just a bit. The Celts with the 2-run shot in the top of the third, back on top after surrendering the lead. And now it'll be up to Jessica Lloyd. Tigers needing to get some offense brewing. They were out there with their bat for quite a while in the top half of the third, in the bottom of the second. And then it looked like it was going to be really quick work for the Tigers in the top of the third. But the 2-run homer by Cromwell has put them behind, and now they are chasing 2 runs here. Longuet has looked really strong.
Yep, with these 2 batters though coming up for Trinity, these are key at bats here because you got 2 of your best hitters coming up, and then we'll see what the middle part of the lineup can do to help Kat a little bit, but just trying to. I think the key is just try and get on base at this point. As you said, Trinity didn't really swing, but they at least got on base, which put pressure on Longuet. So let's see if they can do that here.
Lloyd, in her first at-bat, had a little bloop single out into right field. And that put her aboard with 2 down. And so now as the leadoff hitter, a bloop single would go a long way. I feel like it's really important for teams to get the leadoff runner on if they want to have an inning. Otherwise, there's always the pop 2-run homer that Cromwell just hit, but that'll be a fly out to Moreno and center field, and so one down here for Miller.
That was a good at bat though. That was hit hard, just kind of unlucky. It was lined right to the center fielder, but that was a good at bat. Work the count to what she wanted and got the pitch she wanted to hit.
First pitch swinging for Miller, but right at Simmons. And we've talked about some good defensive play. She hasn't made any plays that I felt were like web gym worthy, as we've seen some others here in this series that were spectacular type of plays. But everything she's done over at third base has just been so fundamental. It's almost as if she's positioned herself to be in the right spot, that when the time comes to make the play, she's just right there to make the easy play as opposed to make the spectacular play.
Yeah, because that last hit right there, that was hit pretty hard, and she was just right there at the right time and made a honestly pretty difficult play look pretty routine.
So now 2 down for Pena. And Brianna would love to get aboard. As we mentioned, sometimes those 2-out singles can then lead to 2-out 2-run homers. Mm-hmm. And with Jordan Williams waiting on deck, the Tigers would like to maybe repay the favor. And it was the bottom half of the order that was kind of able to get going. Williams getting a walk, Salcedo being hit by pitch. Pena got a board.
And Pena in her first at-bat got a base hit. So
got a base hit, came around, scored the lone run here right now for the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
And she did that leading off the inning, an inning ago. That one will be blooped. But then once again, Simmons right there patrolling the third base region for the Celts.
Longuet looks completely in command here.
And we'll see what Patterson can do to see if she can keep this a 2-run game. And I think if Trinity can keep this a low-scoring affair, they're going to need to capitalize on the times that maybe Longuet has some issues. But other than the 2-run homer, which, if it's not hit perfectly to be a home run, it's a fly ball out, and you're not talking about a 3-1 game. So, hopefully Patterson can keep it going here for Trinity if you're a Tiger fan. But if you're a Celts fan, you've got to be really happy with what you're seeing here from both Longuet and your offense, actually just coming up with some key hits so far.
Yeah, I mean, the key for Trinity is I think they have to keep it here basically the rest of the game. If it gets 4-5 to 1, it puts a lot more pressure on Trinity hitters. And if you're St. Thomas, just keep putting the pressure on. Just keep doing what you're doing. It seems to be working. And let's see if Cat can settle in, or let's see if St. Thomas can continue their tear.
Yeah, St. Thomas adding a couple of runs late in the game yesterday. And they put up 2 in I believe it was the 6th inning. That allowed them to build a 4-run lead. Trinity was able to come back and scratch across 2 in the bottom half of the 7th. And they even had the bases loaded, but were unable to bring anything else across as they dropped game number 2, 6-4. So I think you're right. If the game gets a couple of runs out ahead for St. Thomas, it's not an insurmountable outcome here for Trinity, as we saw the comeback yesterday, but you don't want to make it to where you just run out of at-bats or run out of outs to make that comeback, and it's kind of what happened to them last night.
Yeah, and as hitters, if you get to a certain point, late in the game, if it's 5 to 1, that can definitely force you to swing at pitches that you probably shouldn't, and maybe just hit a bloop out there or routine ground balls instead of waiting on pitches and being patient and waiting for the pitcher to make a mistake.
The 0-2 from Patterson left up, and Lee was not having it. And this one will be grounded.
It's a key out right there because Taylor Lee is one of their best hitters.
Yeah, she had a big day yesterday, and so far Patterson's done a good job of keeping her off the base paths. She is now 0 for 2, but gives way to Deacle. 1 for 1 on the day. She was able to work around the base hit back in the second inning. She stranded Deacle at second. She was able to get Moreno and Simmons out to finish the inning. Falling behind a little bit early on now, 2-0. It was Deacle who had a solid hit between first and second yesterday as a pinch hitter in the game 1 of the series. And we saw Jordan Williams with the fantastic diving stop, just unable to get the speedy Deacle, who just flew down the line. In the game of softball, it's just the amount of speed you can have completely changes the game. And some teams kind of build their team to be maybe a power hitting team. Some teams want to go more balanced, but they don't have as much power. They don't have as much speed. St. Thomas showing that they've got a ton of speed here at the bottom half of the order, but they've also got some power up at the top half. As you'll see the speed there. That's just a ball back up the middle, and not much Whitman could do with that one.
Yeah, and as you were saying, I think both these teams are pretty similar in like the way they've made their lineup. Like they have the power hitters and the hitters that are able to hit the ball out in the top of the order, but then they have those speed guys at the bottom. And as we've seen, like speed can kill, and Trinity took advantage of that with Lungay's mistake, and then Deacle just took advantage of that right there. So putting a runner on with one out, and it's key here.
Brown with the sacrifice in the first at-bat. And it's one of those sacrifices that almost became a hit as we talk about the speed. I mean, I feel she could bunt this just about anywhere, and it would be a close play. And that one rolled over. They're going to go for the lead runner, and a smart idea as Whitman will take maybe the easier of the two outs. And it's not every day that you say going for the lead runner is the easier of the two outs, but I almost feel like Brown might have had a single on that one should she have tried to go to first.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like she was already on first base when the ball went into the glove of Saucedo. Had really no chance to get her out, but good play there wow, great tag.
And a great throw from Abigail Miller, and that and I don't mean to be shocked by Miller's throw and the tag here, but Brown is just so quick off of the bag.
And Saucedo's looking
just
like
a perfect throw.
Saucedo's looking like Javier Baez out there with that good tag.
Just a fantastic situation here on the 2-6 caught stealing, and that's almost textbook. And
that could be a big momentum shifter here. That was huge, honestly, for Trinity. Because now let's see if they can get the bats rolling.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, this is one of the first series that we've seen here for Trinity softball. Seen a couple of games throughout the year, but one of the big things that's been really impressive, I just feel like defensively, this team I think has now come around to where I feel like they are absolutely clicking. We're seeing really good strong throws. We're seeing, smart decision-making skills out there, as we saw Whitman, taking the lead runner. It's one, I think it's the right play, but two, it was well executed. And so you're seeing a bunch of stuff where, the other games I saw from Trinity early on in the year, it looked like a team that was still trying to find that chemistry of like, if I go to second, is she going to be there? If I, or should I go to first? And then you hesitate, and then everybody's safe, and then that explodes into the big innings. That's what was happening to Trinity early on in the year. And it looks like with everybody kind of regrouping and playing really well individually, the accumulation of the team here has just looked very, very solid.
Yeah. And as you say that, like, that play to catch the runner stealing, that was very smooth. Like, Miller knew exactly where she wanted to throw it. Saucedo put the tag down perfectly, and just a key out there. And with the getting the lead runner and the at-bat before, that was just textbook defense right there, exactly what you need to do.
And Williams, after a sacrifice in her first at-bat, that should go down as a base hit as she hits that one over to Brown.
Yep, that was a tough play that Brown had to make. It's a key hit there for Trinity. Just get a runner on with no outs here quickly and see if the bottom of the lineup can get this top of the order to bring him in.
And so there will be a pinch runner now for Jordan Williams. As soon as we get that relayed to us, we'll let you know. Mentioned this will be the last game that we have for you here on Tiger Network this year, and be the last game with this obtrusive cage system, as Salcedo will try to get the sacrifice down and move Watson over, but unable to do so, keeping it fair as that one rolls foul. As we are really looking forward to some of the changes being made. I think it's going to be some fantastic improvements here for the Tiger softball team, for the stadium, and that'll be caught. And
great play by Simmons.
Watson able to get back.
Yeah, just tough there. Good pitch to somebody who's bunting, because if it's a little higher, it can definitely hit the top of the bat and cause it to pop up like that.
And so this should be Elizondo hitting, but we might, with all the action that's happening right there, and might see a pinch hitter. And we'll see who this is. Did mention Watson was the pinch runner over. And they're still going to try to sacrifice, and that one will go foul.
Oh, that was close. That was a good bunt. Almost stayed fair.
And I think a great, we talked about Simmons just making the right plays, and that is just such a key play right there.
Yeah, that's
at the point where you come up and you've come all the way basically to home plate, you know that you have no chance to get the runner out. So the best case scenario is you just sit there and wait on it to see if it will roll foul and give yourself a chance to come back with pitch number 2.
Yeah, because especially with that, like as we were talking about, like just smart plays on defense. Like both teams have shown it, and Simmons, she's shown that she's a great defender. And sometimes some players can make mistakes while they're running up to home plate, like they can just get caught up in the moment and pick up the ball when it probably could have gone foul. So that was a very key play there, because that could have put a runner in scoring position.
And Elizondo with the show bunt, swing away, and just hooked it a little too far as that one hitting the dugout. Trying to come up with something to help maybe move the runner across. Runner on first, one down. That one will be floated to center. Moreno, no problem on there, and after a leadoff hit for, when I say a leadoff hit, they're going to give an error on Brown for Jordan Williams. Shot up the middle. And so after a leadoff error, it's been 2 outs here for Longuet.
We've seen this throughout this series for Longuet. She's shown that when she gives up a hit or is in a tough situation, she's just really good at just punching hitters out, so there's no chance of bringing runs in.
So bring up Corelli, who has pinch hit in all the games so far this series. And looking to see if maybe they can't spark something here from the bottom of the order.
Never know. Cromwell did it with 2 outs to hit a 2-run homer. Let's see if Corelli can do the same.
Is down 0-2 on the count. And got a pitch that she wanted to hit, and that one will stay playable for a brief moment, and then off the chain link fence. I think even if you're not able to hit a home run as you move back to the top of the order with Whitman and De La Luna, you kind of like and hope for your chances. If you can just continue the inning around, maybe something will break through.
Right. At least get a runner possibly. And
that one stayed fair.
Wow.
No, he's going to call it foul.
Okay.
I was looking at Cromwell's reaction. It looked like she was ready to head back into the dugout, and then kind of stopped in her tracks. The umpire was pointing foul, but couldn't quite tell if he was pointing foul to make the out call or if it was definite foul ball.
Yeah, that ball took a weird bounce and almost did bounce back fair.
That one shot out to left field, but will foul. Yeah, we saw that play yesterday go against the Tigers where it hit down in the left-hander's batter's box, had a weird spin on it, and then landed right inside the chalk line and would have been a fair ball, or was a fair ball, and was an easy out.
Good job extending this at bat.
Corelli up to 7 pitches in this at bat so far. Just waiting to see if she can get the pitch from Longuet that she likes. Seen some pretty good swings, even though they've gone foul. And that will miss for the first ball. She fouled off 5 in a row. And now starting to work the count.
I know that Longuet may be favored here, but I think Corelli has her right where she wants her. It's a lot of pitches, and wow, great pitch there, though.
Yeah, looked like maybe a changeup right over the middle of the plate. Just kind of froze Corelli, and that will end the 4th. Tigers do leave 1 aboard. But we head to the 5th, and the Celts still holding to a 3-run lead. We'll be back in just a bit. Top of the 5th inning, it's going to be the 9-1-2 spots here for the Celts. Delaney Moreno 0 for 1 on the day. She'll be followed by Jalen Simmons and Lindsey Gonzalez. Patterson about 25 pitches better than her counterpart right now through 4 innings. But on the flip side of that, one of the pitches that she left out there, Sydney Cromwell put into the center field lounge area back there over the wall.
Yeah, but I think if Trinity wants to mount any comeback, it's the pitch count, because with Longuet with over 20 pitches more than Patterson, some fatigue can set in definitely, and that can force some mistakes.
Start to look at what you can try to get her off her game, because she has been dominant so far. Tigers have 1 run on 2 hits. They've committed no errors, and they've left 5 on. But again, St. Thomas with the 3 runs, 6 hits, and they've committed 2 errors, but they've only left two runners on. So, they've been able to score their runners, but at the same time, Patterson's worked quickly around it. I mean, she's given up hits, but for the most part, she's been able to do a job. As that one will.
Oh, what an effort there, though. That was a great play by Saucedo.
Yeah, nice stop in the outfield for Saucedo to, potentially keep that from maybe ending up being a double. We saw that double from Simmons yesterday. She hit a ball that kind of trickled in. It wasn't a double. She went from first to third on a ball that trickled into the outfield. So I think you respect the speed of Simmons at the top of the order there. And, even though they were able to get her out last time, she's now 2 for 3 in this game. And having herself quite a series. I would argue that if St. Thomas goes on to win this game, the fine crew over at the SCAC offices,
Hitter of the Week honors,
would be wise to pay a little bit closer attention to what is likely going to be back-to-back Hitter of the Week nominations for Jalen Simmons, although Cromwell looking really strong here today, trying to make some things happen. But I think over the course of the weekend, it's been Simmons that's kind of helped guide the fate here of the Celts, as Gonzalez will fly out, and that'll bring us to Munson, who's 1 for 2 on the day.
Yeah, that was a key out for Patterson. And if you're Patterson, giving up a single to Simmons isn't the worst thing in the world, and able to get that second out.
Big at bat here for the sophomore, as Cromwell does await on deck. She has Simmons over at first. Munson with a single in her last at-bat back in the 3rd inning, and then came around and scored on the homer.
Yeah, this is a huge at-bat for really both teams, because with the way Cromwell's been playing, Munson would love to get on base.
And she finds herself behind 0-2, so advantage to Patterson for now. We'll see. I would imagine this one's going to be nowhere near the zone, so we'll see what Munson wants to do here. And I think maybe I've gotten lulled into that false sense of security that Patterson was just going to waste a pitch, as that one.
Yeah, that one was
looked like it
thrown right to her.
Would have been called strike 3 if she had laid off. And so Munson doing a great job fighting it off. Stays 0-2. That one down low will be the first ball of the at-bat. Now the 1-2 missing up high.
This is a good at-bat being put together by Munson.
And I feel it's probably right where Patterson wanted to throw that one, too.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to leave it high over the middle of the plate, but wanted to make it close. It didn't miss by much. Swung on.
Big hit there. Great at bat by Munson. That was huge.
Yeah, just lofting that one over the infield, and good job from Kish to get that back in quickly and hold Simmons to second base. So now Cromwell stepping in. She's 2 for 2. She's produced RBIs in each of her at-bats. And this.
Now, this meaning may honestly be like, do you want to walk her? Because you have 2 outs. It would make the bases loaded, but this is also the hottest hitter on the team today. So just trust that if you do walk her, that Cat can take care of business with the next batter. It is a risk, but may not be a bad one.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like this would be an intentional walk. I feel like this would be a
just throw away from her.
Unintentional, intentional walk if they were to do that. But I kind of feel like Patterson might come right after her.
Yeah,
and she does that.
And it looks like she is.
I think that was maybe more of a settle in. Hey, you've got defense behind you. Don't worry about the possibilities here. Just attack. You see 2 for 2 on the day, 327 on the year. And not only that, but back behind the plate, she's doing a great job as well. So, stellar day here for Cromwell, and she's looking to add to it. But
good pitch there.
Patterson not backing down, and regardless of the outcome here, as a Tiger fan, you got to be really happy with what you're seeing here. In full attack mode, not going to back down. You've gotten out of runners on first and second jams all weekend. And this one lofted into the gap. And Cromwell will make the Tigers pay. And this inning will be over as Cromwell tries to take second.
But huge.
But another run added to the board.
Bats.
Yeah, she's brought around Simmons on this play, and then trying to sneak an extra bag here. And a great job by Miller on a strike throw over to Saucedo. That will end the inning before Munson can score. And it makes it 4-1, as that score will update here in just a bit. But it is 4-1 here, St. Thomas, and you mentioned trying to keep this to that 2-run lead. Tigers do have the top of the order coming up, so see if they can start to chip away. It'll be the bottom of the fifth when we return, so there's not much time left if the Tigers are planning to chip away, but they can come up with a big inning and see if they can kind of gather this back all at once. We'll find out when we return. So the run on the board, it's 4-1 for the Celts, and Longuet with the two-hitter at the moment. The run that did come across was unearned back in the second inning. And after a pretty stellar performance in Game 1 yesterday, she's looking every bit the same here in Game number 2. She did take the loss, but that one will be a great catch.
What a catch. Unreal play.
Taylor Lee, and just sorry we don't have a better angle of that one because she lays out and makes a phenomenal diving catch to retire Whitman here as the Tigers lead off in the bottom of the fifth. You just see it on the corner of your screen, but now one down for De La Luna. As we were saying, the top of the order for the Celts. Really producing here, and it's the top of the order for the Tigers, looking to maybe see if they can start to get something going.
Yeah, and that big catch does not help, but
this popped up to Brown, and she will make quick work of it. And we mentioned Longuet's pitch count a half inning ago and how well Patterson was doing. Well, Patterson had a longish fifth inning. And so far, pretty quick work here for Longuet.
Yeah, Longuet, she just seems to be unfazed. She's in total command right now.
And first pitch swinging, Jessica Lloyd will make it a quick bottom of the fifth. We head to the sixth, and it is still 4-1 St. Thomas. And just absolute perfection right there if you're a Celt fan. And we'll be back for top of the sixth with Lehue, Lee, and Deacle when we return. Top of the sixth, leading off will be Lehue for the Celts. Over 2 on the day. Ground out to second and a ground out to first base.
Yeah, hopefully Patterson can take care of business quickly here if you're a Tiger fan.
That one up and in makes it 2-0. Looking over the stats, that pause between innings, 9 hits now for the Celts, but just by 4 players. And it's been big hit days for Simmons, who's 2 for 3, Munson's 2 for 3, Cromwell 3 for 3, and Deacle, who would be due up third here in this inning, 2 for 2. So Patterson having some issues with certain batters, she's been able to work effectively against the rest of the lineup. She has not issued a walk yet, and getting dangerously close here with the 3-1 pitch now to Lehue. Lehue will be swinging that one to center, and Elizondo.
It's a great catch there. Kind of had to contort a little bit to catch that one.
And I'd say anytime you can retire the leadoff runner when you're trailing in a game, it's going to be a huge confidence booster to your pitcher.
That's key.
That was a big catch, as not only because that one, if it gets past Elizondo out in center, then probably looking at Lehue standing on second with Lee, then sacrificing over. And then we mentioned the bottom half of this order with speed. And anytime you've got a sacrifice attempt, you're looking at the possibility of just being on base. And then that is Lee, who was 3 for 3 yesterday, getting on base for the first time today. Now 1 for 3 here in this one, but puts her right in front of Deacle, who is 2 for 2.
Yeah, that was a big at bat there for Lee to bring up a hot Deacle who could advance her even a couple more bases.
So a single to left and a single up the middle back in the second and fourth innings.
If you're Patterson, just see if you can, 1, maybe strike her out, or 2, just get her a pitch to hit a grounder and maybe force a double play.
Would be challenging with her speed, but would be ideal for Trinity fans. At 1-1 now. I think as you look at the lineup, you've got Brown and Moreno up next. Brown with the sacrifice already and 0 for 1. Moreno 0 for 2 on the day. I think maybe you try to approach Deacle without too much, without trying to do too much, as that one's fouled off.
Oh, good effort there.
Yeah, again, I think that the way that chain link fence curves in there at the top of your screen, it really does. You saw where Miller had stopped on that last one there.
Yeah,
and that's about where you have to stop because you can't make a play much closer to the fence.
Yeah.
And so it does, even though there's a lot of room back there, there's not a lot of room to actually make a play. And so that one shot down the right field line, and Deacle will have another single, and this one's going to move the runner to the corner. And just left on the outside part of the bag.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is just great hitting by St. Thomas, because that one was a little bit outside of the zone, and she was able to get the end of the bat on it. And St. Thomas has just been able to make some good swings and make a lot happen this game.
So now the speedy Brown, 0 for 1 with a sacrifice today. They're going to throw back behind the runner, and that's going to be safe.
That was a close play. It was a good throw by Miller.
Trying to pick Taylor Lee off as she was maybe coming down that line. A good job for both the throw from Miller, but also for De La Luna to keep that one on point. A little surprised that they haven't sent Deacle to second yet.
Yeah, it looked like that was a pitch out there.
Maybe anticipating what Coach Martin had up her sleeve. But I didn't even see Deacle bounce on the first one, so Looks like they're going to let Brown hit away here.
Yeah, St. Thomas is trying to test to see if Miller can possibly make a mistake by making an errant throw, but she's not being phased yet.
The bunt right down the line.
That's a wonderful bunt there.
And as we mentioned, she can pretty much do that because, one, she's got incredible wheels down to first. I mean, by the time that was picked up, I don't think she actually even threw it. I think she faked the throw over to first. That'll load the bases now for Marino. And I'll say technically a better situation here for Trinity. I mean, you don't want to take your chances with too many runners on, but now you've got a force play just about anywhere. This will be left up for Cash. She's going to throw home, and the throw will be cut off. So the RBI sac fly for Moreno. First pitch swinging, and that does the job. And an absolutely fantastic job here by Moreno, because if that's hit on the ground, I think you've got an easy play at home somewhere. And that will put 2 aboard now for Simmons.
Yeah, now you bring up a very hot hitter, Jalen Simmons, who can bring in even another insurance run.
Yeah, and Simmons will have to wait a while as we will have a pitching change. That'll be it for Patterson here for now as she leaves 2 aboard. And we'll see who it is coming out of the pen here for the Tigers. Well, actually, it looks like Patterson's staying in. She went over to the umpire, and I thought she was making a change. So apologies on prematurely pulling Patterson out of the game so far. I thought that's what she was. So normally when you do the visit to the pitcher, you don't. Okay, it's going to be an intentional walk.
Yeah, that's smart.
To Simmons, and you're going to take your chances with Gonzalez. Lindsey Gonzalez 0 for 3 on the day. But Lindsey Gonzalez is going to swing at the first pitch. And Lindsey Gonzalez is probably going to put the bat on the ball and put it in play. If I'm just guessing off of the 10 or so at-bats that I've seen from her this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. St. Thomas now pushing that lead to 4. It's their largest lead of the weekend, tied with yesterday as they led 6-2 before eventually winning Game 2 6-4. As they look to maybe go up a little bit more. Gonzalez, who in her first at-bat in Game 1 had a single up the middle. First pitch swinging, bat on the ball, over to short. Whitman will take care of it, and that is the inning. So pretty much exactly how we just said it would play out for you. I've really, truly never seen anybody maybe be as good of a contact hitter as Gonzalez to be able to put the ball basically in play on the first pitch no matter what's coming and have maybe not as much to show for it as she would hope. So Tigers will squander up another run. It now makes it 5-1 for the Celts. They will have 4, 5, 6. That's Miller, Kish. It's probably going to be Pena. Miller, Pena, and Williams when we return. The freshman catcher, Abby Miller, stepping in. 329 on the season. So she's due. 0 for 2 today. Base hit would put her right at her season average. Longuet up to 80 pitches now. That one will be fouled off, and it'll be 1-1. Jacob, we were mentioning there just briefly that in between innings that I think the key here for Trinity is try to make this 6th inning a long inning.
Yeah.
If they can get Longuet, fatigued here, she had such a quick 5th inning. If they can be patient at the plate, make her work. 81 pitches is not, 82 pitches now is not necessarily a terribly long outing for a pitcher. But if they can work up some long inning fatigue here from Longuet, maybe they can start to build upon an inning, as that is called strike for now 2-2. And and then I think on the other side of it, they've got to leave the 6th inning with a couple of runs. I think you can't go trailing 4 into the 7th again like they did last game. And that will be a hot shot over to Simmons, who's now moved over to short.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point. As I was saying, even earlier on in the game, the way that Trinity can possibly put pressure on Longuet is just work her counts up, and Miller did a decent job there. That was, I think, 5 pitch at bat, but I think you need more 7-8 pitch at bats to have a mistake pitch happen.
And they'll re-enter Pena as Kish has been out in right field in the last couple of innings. And I'll correct myself. The stats have Gonzalez at third, Simmons at short. Looking at it, it's Gonzalez at short, Simmons still at third. And Gonzalez making that fine play on Miller, who's now 0 for 3. Pena 1 for 2 on the day. And that hit came pretty while back in the 2nd inning. He came around and scored the Tigers' only run so far today. And they're going to need her to do a little bit more of that, hoping to extend this one out. Tiger fans will want to stick around for the postgame. We'll tap into the PA and have the senior read-offs, senior ceremony here today. As the fly-out will bring up Williams now with 2 down, and I think for Longuet, this is an inning that is working well in her favor.
Yeah, definitely. This isn't the inning that you want if you're Trinity, but Longuet just looked unflappable all day long, and she seems to be continuing that.
Yeah, just that slight bit of trouble with Pena leading off in the 2nd inning. It was Williams who sacrificed her over to second,
and in reality, this game really should be 5-0 because that run was self-inflicted by her making a bad throw.
Yeah, the throwing error cost her. So no earned runs against her so far today, and Tigers just really not have been able to get the bats going this weekend. 4 runs yesterday in Game 2, 1 run in Game 1. Fortunate that they're not swept in this series mostly, I think, because Patterson did such a great job in the circle in Game 1, stifling the Celt bats. But without that type of dominant pitching performance from Patterson, you're looking at dropping the series yesterday already before you get to this one. And, St. Thomas, I don't think, they haven't exploded. You don't want to, it's hard to say that, 12 hits at this point is not exploding. They're hitting .462 in this game. 12 for 26, so they've done their job. But offensively, they've left runners on. 5 runs is not insurmountable, but Trinity just has not been able to get it going. They're 2 for 20 today, and then they've only been able to get on base just a few extra times. A couple of errors, 1 walk, and
the woes seem to be continuing.
So we'll see if they've got anything left for them in the 7th, but they'll need some strong defense to keep this just a 4-run game into the final frame. So similar to yesterday. We'll see what the Tigers have and see if they can mount a rally like they did yesterday and see if they can extend it a little bit further than what they did. Otherwise, it'll be St. Thomas taking the series, but we'll find out as we return here on the Tiger Network. So it'll be the 3, 4, 5 hitters here for the Celts. Mallory Munson, 2 for 3 on the day, 22 RBI, 2 runs scored. She has one of those today, run scored. She was brought in on the Sidney Cromwell home run back in the 3rd inning. Her last 2 at-bats have been singles after she flew out in her opening at-bat to left field. That one will be low, even the count at 1-1.
Give a lot of credit to Cromwell, who's on deck right now. Because of her, this game is 5-1. Without her, it'd be 2-1. But she's done her job as a few other batters of St. Thomas. And as you were saying earlier, it's really been 4 or 5 batters of St. Thomas that have done all the damage.
And there is the second walk of the game issued, and that one for Munson. I'd say she's one of those few hitters that's kind of been in the right place, right time. She's only scored 1 run, but she helped extend the 5th inning to bring up Cromwell and allowed Simmons to score. First pitch swinging for Cromwell. Hit 3 for 3, 340 on the year. A big home run back in the 3rd inning, sandwiching in a couple of singles every at-bat. She has produced an RBI. And this one out into right field. It looks like it will be foul. And we'll come back and it'll be 0-2. Yeah, for her to get an RBI here, it's going to have to be a pretty big shot. But she's got 4 on the day.
And she's hit a big shot, so.
Singles to third, singles to short, and then the home run to left center. That one outside. Probably a good waste pitch there for Patterson, although I will say Cromwell's last at bat, she went down and kind of went opposite way.
Yeah, because, I mean, that really wasn't a bad pitch by Patterson. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier, how Patterson really hasn't thrown bad pitches. It's just St. Thomas has been able to just hit really well and get the bat on the ball when they need to.
That one lined over to De La Luna, and then the throw back to try to double up. Munson slides back in safely. And I'll say it looks like her stats might be slightly off. The last single that they had for Cromwell before she lines out here, that was the foul ball down the right field line. The last single that she had, the stats have her singling to short. She definitely singled to right field.
Yeah, she did.
Because it was a ball low and away that was just one of those things where it was like, from Cat Patterson's point of view, there's not much you could have done. I mean, you threw what was almost an unhittable pitch, and Cromwell went down and hit it. And it's just like, sometimes, you can throw a pitch that's absolutely perfect from a pitcher's standpoint, and the hitter just wins the at bat because they found a way to hit that. And so,
Yeah, and also give credit to Patterson though, like just throwing to her instead of possibly like walking her in that situation, because she did what she had to do. She threw a good pitch, just as you said. It just a better piece of hitting. It's just sometimes things like that can happen.
yeah, and without Cromwell at the plate, you're right though. I mean, it's just a 1-1 game without her 4 RBI. So, just sometimes you always like the idea of attacking the hitter.
Mm-hmm.
And, if they win the at-bat, then they win the at-bat. And Leahy's going to get on board for the first time today as she puts that one into right field. Now 1 for 4. Bring up 1 for 3, batting Taylor Lee. And now 2 aboard here, 1 down. Although if you looked at the first 6 innings, you'd be surprised at who got the hit here in this inning, because Cromwell retired as looks like maybe a pinch runner coming in for Leahy. Mentioned earlier, Patterson after the 4th inning was only at 50 pitches, and now here in the 7th with just 1 down, already up over 100. It's maybe the broadcaster's curse, but the second half of the game is kind of tilted as far as the amount of work each pitcher has been having to do. On the flip side of that, Longuet's really just had some breezy innings, especially the 5th inning where she only threw 4 pitches. The 6th inning, I think she only threw 9. She just is in absolute cruise control mode. And for Patterson, it looks like maybe some of that fatigue that we were, as Tiger fans, hoping to see from Longuet, that it just hasn't arisen yet. Patterson now starting to, I think some of these pitches, I don't think she's intending to miss the zone with. I think they're missing. As she's now fallen behind 2-1 here to Taylor Lee.
Yeah, and as you were talking about, just sometimes the fatigue and working pitch counts can be the key, because really this game was blown open toward the middle of the game, and it was just unfortunate that Cat was the one that.
That one caught by Sacedo, or not caught, she caught her on the bounce, and thought maybe she would try to go for the tag and force, but the lead runner, Munson, able to break out just ahead of that, and now it's runners on the corners as the force out will be a fielder's choice against Lee. And she now stands on first base. This one hit into right field. The diving catch.
Wow. Great
made
catch.
by Pena. I believe that's Pena back out there in right field. And she had come up to bat last inning.
Another game with a few web gems, and that's another one right there.
And that is a run-saving catch. Easily a 2-run saving catch, and that keeps us at a 4-run game. Tigers need to score 4 to keep this one moving. If they can score 5, they can walk it off. If St. Thomas can keep that from happening, they take the series, and we'll find out when we return. So it'll be 7, 8, and 9 against Longuet and Lindsay Longuet. So far on the day, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 1 run. It was unearned. She's only walked 1, struck out 4. and the 2 hits have all been singles. So Alexis Saucedo will step in, batting 7th. She's 0 for 1 today. Had a hit by pitch back in the 2nd inning that brought her aboard, and then she popped out to 3rd back in the 4th inning. Tigers have gone very quietly the last couple of innings, put down in order. I believe Lange has retired. She's retired at least the last 6 in a row, I believe. And if not, maybe, or at least the last 7, because she would have ended the 5th inning with an out. But maybe even beyond that. So, 3rd time through the order, you're hoping to maybe get a better feel for the pitcher, but looks like 3rd time through the order, Longuet has gotten a better feel for the hitters.
Yeah.
That one is left over the middle for a strike call, and much needed, as we mentioned, only 1 walk on the day, but Saucedo trying to get aboard any way she can. It's important for the Tigers to kind of remember here that as she goes down on swinging on the full count pitch, another strikeout, make it 5 now for Longuet. Important for the Tigers, I think, to understand to try to just 1 runner at a time, 1 base runner at a time. Like, you can't hit, a 4-run, grand slam without having people on base.
Mm-hmm.
And this a really good pitch here from Longuet. Thought that she left it over the plate to be a called strike to avoid the walk, but then had a little bit on it. And this will be Debussy pinch hitting.
Yeah, and as you were saying at break, I think just the key that Trinity has had to try to do when they've gotten into a hole is they just have to try to stay patient, and unfortunately, it just looks like they've been swinging at pitches that probably maybe they shouldn't or they don't want to just make something happen.
It was a good piece of hitting for Dawson Debussy, but it was right at third baseman Simmons, and that will make it 2 outs on the inning. Cash stepping in, shows bunt. It was Cash who helped the Tigers to the only run of the game so far for themselves, although it was mostly due to her speed, maybe the thought of her speed, as she hit a slow chopper back to Longuet with Pena on 3rd, and Longuet rushed the throw over to first base, threw it high over Lehue, and that allowed Cash to reach and brought Pena home. And that's really the only mistake that Longuet has made all day. The Celts have 5 runs on 13 hits, committed 2 errors. The Tigers just the 1 run on those 2 hits. And the called strike now 3-1. Maybe this is a little bit of the fatigue that we were maybe hoping the Tigers could get some benefit from. This is the 3rd 3-ball count that we've seen this inning, but then Longuet.
Yeah, Longuet just
coming right back with strikes.
She just seems to come back. She has never been phased this entire game. You got to give her credit for that.
Yeah, when you get to 3 strikes or 3 balls and you can still throw strikes on that batter, it's an impressive feat. Cash will send this one over. It is going to be Gonzalez. And looks like that one was dropped. We'll see what the official scoring was. We're kind of watching on the same monitors that you're watching at home. So this one hit over to Gonzalez, the throw over.
That just shows her speed, though, again, is that she hit that ball pretty hard and still was almost at first when the ball got there.
Yeah, officially a throwing error by Whitman. And so 2 down now, pardon me, throwing error by Gonzalez. And now Whitman standing in.
I mean, if you want to make it a 2-out rally, this is a part of the order that you want to do it with.
Top of the order, and Whitman 0 for 2 today. She did have a walk back in the second inning, so she can keep it going. Tigers need to get to at least Jessica Lloyd, who's in the hole. That one flown out to right field, and that will do it. So St. Thomas with the 5-1 victory here in Game 3. They win the last 2 of the series. Trinity taking Game 1, 1-0. Then St. Thomas 6-4. Then St. Thomas 5-1. And for the moment, that will help propel them potentially into that number 2 spot. Tigers couldn't clinch it yet. They still have a chance, but it gives St. Thomas probably a little bit of an upper hand as we head into the conference tournament. So we will have to see what next week produces. And St. Thomas and Trinity, as Tigers will travel to Texas Lutheran, and St. Thomas will take on Centenary. And then they will probably, in all likelihood, meet some point here in a few weeks, in 2 weeks' time, for the conference tournament. Jake, your thoughts as we conclude our coverage here this year, and we'll stick around afterwards. We'll turn the audio on for Senior Day, so if you're Tiger fans, stick around for that one. But wrap up this one for us.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a really, really well-played series by Longuet when she was on the mound. She was unflappable for the most part and in total command today and even the first game. But very key win for St. Thomas today. They needed this to probably be in the driver's seat for the 2 seed going into the tournament, having home field advantage, but just and great batting by a few key batters today was really the difference, especially Cromwell. She was the player of the game in my book and was the reason that St. Thomas was able to get this win.
And so that will knock Trinity back down to 500 on the season. They'll be 18-18, still looking pretty strong here in conference. So stick around. We'll carry the post-game Senior Day activities, the read-offs, and have that for you here in just a bit here on the Tiger Network. And for fans from Houston and St. Thomas, thank you for joining us, and good luck to you guys the rest of the way. And I'd also like to stop and take a moment to thank Gina Monaco, who had been calling our games all year. Of course, she left San Antonio. She's the new equipment manager for the Las Vegas Aces of the WNBA. And so congratulations to her on that position, and good luck to Las Vegas as the WNBA season looks to get underway here shortly. And so, big thanks to her for all of her efforts throughout the year. And we're pretty much wrapping up here softball coverage at Tiger Softball Stadium for the year. And, it's been, an interesting year. I think we're a young team. And, looking forward to what we have in store for the rest of the year, but also mainly as we head off into 2023. We're going to see a lot of changes, both visually, but I think also the team's going to just have an exponential amount of growth. So excited for what the future holds here, but tough one today, and just something for the team to build upon. So we'll take our mics off and we'll turn on the PA here in just a bit and bring you the Senior Day coverage. Thanks for joining us here on the Tiger Network.
Number 2, Sammy String Bean Noodle Whitman.
What? 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 Do you have a program? I don't know why we're doing that. That's going to be the first time in history. There's only two. She's not wrong.
First up for Trinity, we have Brianna Pena from LaPorte, Texas. Bree is accompanied by her parents, Maria and Gonzalo Pena. Bree's post-grad plans include returning home to Houston and working at a regional mid-sized accounting firm, yet to be determined. She will spend most of her time the next several months studying for the CPA exam while working as a tax accountant. Bree's favorite softball memory is the spring break trip of 2020, since it literally was right before COVID happened. It was filled with so many memorable moments for her. A lot happened during that week, included but not limited to having the best condo, getting a stomach bug on our off day so she couldn't go to Disney World with Sammy and Danielle, doing the slingshot with Carly at the Old Town Carnival place, and traveling on a plane where Trinity softball was the only people occupying the plane. Oh, and don't forget about the pool parties. Please give another round of applause for Bree Old Lady Painting. Next we have number 2, Sammy Whitman from Austin, Texas. Sammy is accompanied by her parents, Alex and Carrie Whitman, her siblings, Griffin and Lexi, and her grandparents, Linda and Mike Whitman. Whitman's post-grad plans include continuing her education at the University of San Diego and their Master's in Business Analytics program. Sammy says, my favorite softball memory is definitely the spring break 2020 Florida trip as well as the week afterwards. I had so many great memories from the Florida trip, such as being in the best condo, going to Disney World with Danielle while Bree was sick, going on the 300-foot-tall Superman ride at Carnival with Carly, Jones, and Bree, and stealing an extra pack of Oreos from the other condo. The day we got back from Florida was a sad day, since it was the day it was announced that everything was canceled due to COVID. But the week after the announcement still holds many amazing memories for me, since my Trinity softball friends and teammates were the only ones left on campus. And we got to spend every second of the day around each other before the abrupt end to the semester and the season. Another favorite memory of mine is when I was intentionally walked by Centenary during the 2020-21 season after going 3 for 3 in the game. I mean, come on now. Who intentionally walked the slapper? Please give another round of applause for Sammy String Bean Noodles Whitman. Now, we will honor number 9, Christina Kish from Tucson, Arizona. Christina is accompanied by her parents, Karen and Kevin Kish. Her post-grad plans include currently doing second-round interviews for jobs in sports analytics, and her fingers are crossed for hopefully potentially landing a job. Christina said my favorite Trinity softball memory was this past season when we were playing Southwestern, and I had one of the longest at-bats of my career. I kept fouling off ball after ball, and finally, I ended the at-bat with a line drive shot down right field line, which landed me a triple. When I hit third, I just remember looking over at Coach, and she was screaming, "Way to go, senior." It made me feel so proud of how far I've come when I first started playing softball when I was 8. I'm ending my softball career with a great group of girls, and we're going to kill it at the conference tournament. Couldn't have asked for a better season. Please give another round of applause for Christina Swish Swish Kish. Now we will honor number 13, Jenna Cash from Flower Mound, Texas. Jenna is accompanied by her mom, Sue, and dad, Rich Cash, and Jack Cash, her brother. She also has her family away from home with her, Marina, Sammy, Madison, and Jordan. Jenna's post-grad plans include her accepting a job with the Spurs Sports and Entertainment here in San Antonio, where she will be a CRM representative in the Business Analytics Department. She is ready and excited to apply her technical skills to her career in the sports industry. Jenna's favorite softball memory is when she hit a walk-off against Southwestern her sophomore year, and Madison scored from second. That was awesome because that was the first walk-off of her career, and it was a very cool experience. My other favorite memory is when the bird flew into McDonald's on the Sol Ross trip and hung out in the restaurant until the manager so casually put latex gloves on, grabbed it, and threw it outside the door. Please give another round of applause for number 13, Jenna Chad Cash. Last but not least, we have number 1, Kat Patterson from West Columbia, Texas. Kat is accompanied by her parents, Mary and Gary Patterson. Patterson will either pursue a sports marketing job in Houston or accept an offer at a graduate program in sports management at Texas A&M, Gibbon. Kat said her favorite softball memory was our spring break trip tournament in Florida. That trip really kick-started my friendships on the team and reminded me of why I love being on this team so much. One more round of applause for Catherine Gotcha Patterson. Now, we would like to conclude the ceremony by allowing seniors to take off their cleats for the last time and place them on home plate. Thank you, seniors. Ladies and gentlemen, please give another round of applause for all of our seniors.